Okay, today we have our very own Carly Hull here for Foundation Friday, and she's going to give us some frank talk with a stager. She runs a Maison Staging, and I'll be using her for my first two listings next week, but her portfolio looks amazing, and I'm sure she's got a lot of awesome information for us. Carly.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So, as he stated, I do have a fair amount of portfolio to show you. So, I was going to get started with just giving you a glimpse and a look at what I've done in the past. Um, and then I will use this as an opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got started with staging. So I actually was a real estate appraiser for about 5 years and really enjoyed doing that. But it was a bit isolating. That was probably my most drawback part of the business was I was alone almost all day long. But I loved real estate. And so I decided to go into the avenue of being an agent instead. And I'm so happy I made the switch. It was a great switch for me. But shortly after I started becoming an agent and was just hitting the ground running with that, a really good friend of mine had a super successful staging business. And so I started just helping her here and there because she really needed the help because she was pregnant. And so when she had the baby, she didn't want to come back and do it anymore. So she approached me about buying most of her inventory. And that's what I did. So I started in the end of 2021, and 2022 was an amazing year for my company. We did 55 stagings. We were super, super busy and it was great. I loved helping out, my fellow John L. Scott agents and acquiring new clients and all of that. So it's been such an amazing switch. It's something that I love real estate, but I've really discovered that staging is my true passion. I love the creative side of it. And so, I'm thriving. I love this business. It's great. A little bit also about myself. I have 6 children, ranging from 16 to 9 months. So we are busy. My husband also owns his own business as well. So we're raising some entrepreneurs here, which I love. Okay, so let me go to my presentation.
The pictures were very lovely, by the way, as you're transitioning. And congratulations on living life today with 6 children. I have 4, and so I can feel for you. But man, that's quite an accomplishment. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I never saw myself having a big family like this. I wanted like 1 or 2. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. And it's been really cool to have such a wide range of kids and have, the teenagers relate to the baby and all that. It's been really cool. Okay, so you've already heard about me. That's great.
Can
Moving
you
on.
unshare the screen and then reshare? I think we're stuck on the slideshow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do that.
There you go.
Awesome. Okay. So, yes, already heard about me. So, let's talk about the importance of staging, which I love talking to agents specifically about this because you guys generally already know how important staging is. Some great statistics that I like to share, and I think it would be great for agents to have these statistics in your pocketbook when you're talking to your clients about the importance of staging. One of my favorites is that buyers are willing to overlook 27% of the flaws and imperfections in their homes when the home is staged. And this one is so key in this market that we're dealing with right now is that staged homes spend 73% less time on the market than unstaged homes. So nobody wants that bomb that's been sitting there for 2 months. A really awesome statistic, I think, is that you or your clients, they can expect a 5 to 15% ROI when you invest in staging. So that is huge. It should pay for itself and more so. And then we all know that, most homeowners are starting their process of looking for homes online. They say, I think 95% of homeowners are starting online. But buyers are 40% more likely to see a home or want to do a walkthrough on a home that is staged. So it's huge. It's very important to have a home staged. And we all have experienced it, as much as I even try to fight it myself. When you're in a home and it's staged so adorable, it just feels more cozy and you can envision yourself living there. And I end up liking the house more. It's just inevitable. So of course we want our buyers to be doing this as well. And then we've all been to those vacant homes where it just feels sterile. It's got a funky smell. It's just not as inviting at all. And then you're really looking at like, wow, this carpet looks trashed and all these other things, right? So this is a question that I get asked often is, what do I do when my client really needs to stay in the home? They don't have somewhere else to go. And they just really want to. You're not going to kick them out. So we call that an occupied staging in the business. And this is something that Maison does provide, occupied stagings. A lot of stagers don't. And so this is an area where I can really be a benefit to you to have a professional in your tool belt when talking with your own clients, because oftentimes I've noticed that you, as their agent, you have developed a much deeper, rich relationship with them, and you want to maintain that relationship. You really want them to trust you, and like you. And so this is where I get to come in and be more of an authority and more of a professional in this aspect of letting them know what should stay and what should go. So that usually involves us doing a walkthrough with you and the homeowner and me. We go through and we decide, what is great. This will totally work in this space. And I can just bring a few things to just modernize it. Or I know that you really love this Barcalounger, but it doesn't flow with the rest of the house. And could you live without it for a month? Is that asking too much? So I always let them decide. I always ask them, what is something in here that just you use every day and you just can't live without? And so sometimes it is the ugly Barcalounger, and it's something that I just have to work around. But that's an area that it's so important to have a professional in there to be able to deal with what's there, maybe a color palette that's not as modern, that's difficult to work with. But this is where I can definitely thrive and be an asset to you guys. I get to be the bad guy. I get to be the heavy for you. And then oftentimes, I will just zhuzh up like the bed that they're living in. Sometimes they can condense down to just 1 or 2 rooms, and that's great. That helps me immensely. I will even teach your clients how I make the beds for staging so that they can redo it when it comes time for an open house or a walkthrough or anything like that. So I will teach you, I will teach them. I will, definitely help them in the process and make it as painless as possible for them to have their house on the market, because it's hard. It's hard to have your house on the market for sure when you're still living in it. And that does bring me to, like I said, having those sometimes can be awkward conversations, but that's something I've done very well in the past, is making people feel like it's our decision together. And, it's not that I don't like their things or you don't like their things. It's just that everyone else is going to hate their things. No, just kidding. I never say that. But I just phrase things where they can have we would love to be able to create a really cohesive environment in this house and make sure that it's going to photograph really well, and that we want buyers to really be looking at the home and not your things. And so that's where we can all work really well and hand in hand with each other. And I have had a few people tell me, you don't like my things. It's sad, but like I said, I've done a really good job of recovering and making sure people don't feel hurt about having to remove their things. So I, of course, love vacant homes. It's my favorite thing to do. I get to have a blank canvas and do my complete own design from it. It does require me to bring a lot more furniture in. I have a whole team that mostly does all the heavy lifting for me, so I don't do it. But I've been a CrossFitter for 12 years. So when I first got into staging, I was like, oh, pick up furniture all day? Yes, I can definitely do that. So that's still a passion of mine, but I try and save myself for all of the other very important things that go on besides the heavy lifting. But yeah, of course, I have that freedom to design a space from scratch. So it's always my favorite and the best. So this is one benefit that Maison definitely provides for agents, is that we can stage as many rooms as you want or as few as you want. Every quote that I do is customizable. And so I usually send out typically 3 quotes with each staging that I do. You can have full meal deal, full staging, and we can do every single room if that's what you'd like. But I also usually, my second tiered quote is the most important rooms that I feel are the most important. And they've done some studies that living room, but no big surprise, is the most important room. But surprisingly, the master bedroom is the second most important, followed by the kitchen that people like to see staged. So it's kind of interesting. I do offer a heart of the home package. So it's kind of listed here in the middle, where it's the kitchen, dining room, living room, master bath, master bedroom. So those are usually the core, the most important rooms that you would want to see staged. And so I call that my heart of the home package. But if you want to have, there's a really cool office in this house and we just really want buyers to be able to envision themselves working from home, happy to throw in like one office, a la carte, and work with what your budget is and all of that. So that's something that's, I think, a huge benefit to me with my company. A lot of other stagers require full house. That's it. You got to do the whole thing. So a little bit about my style. You guys saw a lot of the pictures, but I definitely do a farmhouse kind of French theme. That's why I picked the name Maison. And I do throw in some modern elements to my stagings, but I mix it well with the farmhouse look, so it's not looking really, really modern. And like as I highlighted in the beginning with occupied stagings, the ability to adapt to what your clients already have in the home. And maybe that's not even just furniture, it's the cabinets, it's the countertop, the flooring and paint that they have. I have a really wide range of color palettes that I can pick from, so that, when it's this bright red wall and your sellers just do not want to paint it, we can make it look like it's supposed to be there and bring it out and highlight it and do that. So I really like to use color and stay abreast of all of the awesome new colors that are coming on the market and that are popular right now. So as I stated, using a lot of color. And I've been asked this a few times of if I have like an Easter egg with my particular stagings. And I think the only thing really that I use like every single time is a string of beads. I put them on like books and things, and they always get messed with. I don't know if it's the kids coming in to view the house, but I've never once gone back to do a destaging and they're the same way that I put them. So people just got to touch these beads. I don't know what it is.
We've been, I was looking with some clients, several homes, probably 20 plus homes. Almost every stage home has those, and every one they picked it up and moved it somewhere else. So it's the people showing it, I bet.
Knew it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so funny to me. But there you go. I mean, at least it gives them something to play with, I guess, and it's not harming my things whatsoever. So my name, I do get asked pretty often how you say it, and it actually is French for home. So it's home staging. And since I have a huge French inspiration, that's what I went with. I've been kind of obsessed with France ever since I was a teenager. I've been there several times, and I have a huge collection of Eiffel Towers. So I just had to do it when I was picking my name. So as I mentioned, I will do a heart of the home package. And if you mention to me that you saw me here, or that you're a John L. Scott agent, I will definitely give you a really good deal on the heart of the home package. But more importantly, especially for John L. Scott agents, I will do a special agreement for payment, so that because I know it's a lot of upfront costs for agents getting a home on the market, and so I definitely sympathize with you with that one. So I will do an arrangement where we do like half upfront and half at closing to help agents out. Mm-hmm. So it's something I mostly only do for John L. Scott agents. So just keep that in mind, and I'm happy to provide that for you guys. So lastly, I'd love for you to follow me on Instagram. Here's my link. I update my Instagram really regularly with all my latest stagings, and I make it a huge habit to tag the agent in my posts for my new stagings, because I do have a lot of agents that follow me and a lot of other people that follow me. So it's just another layer that you get more of your name out there and your listing out there. Please check out my website, maisonstaging.com. We are unveiling a huge revamp of my website, which I'm so excited about. It should be done early next week. But something that I've never seen another stager do, and it's something I really wanted to provide for my clients, was I'm having a calendar link in there so you can see what days I have available, how quickly you can get your house staged and get on the market fast. So like I said, it's new, it's cutting edge. I'm really excited about it, and hopefully it'll be a huge benefit for you, because that's usually one of the first questions. It's like, hey, I got a house, I need it staged. Awesome. When are you looking to go live? So that we can fit you in and make sure that timeline happens for you guys, for sure. And this is my personal cell phone number. Feel free to text me whenever you want. I'm very quick to respond. My email as well. And I really look forward to working with all of you. And I love, like I said, keeping it in the family, working with my John L. Scott agents. And yeah, I am happy to help. So I'd love to hear if you guys have any questions for me.
Yeah. So I have a question. So, it's a little confusing, I think, for us to know, like, how do you work? How does a stager work? Sometimes there's sometimes we can look online and sort of design it. Sometimes we want to go to the house. Sometimes we have people that we want to impress and we want to send our stager there so that it's a whole big presentation. So what's your policy as far as do you always go to the house? Will you go to the house if we request it? That kind of thing.
That's a great question. Yes, I typically love to do a walkthrough, and it works out best when I do a walkthrough. And I'm always happy to meet the homeowners and talk with the homeowners. And I think that is a benefit, that I make people feel really comfortable, and we're walking through the house, and it's, I'm not judging, because oftentimes when I'm there, the house is looking it's absolute worst. The people are moving, they got their stuff, pulled off the walls, they're always like, I'm so sorry, it doesn't normally look like this. And I'm like, that's okay. I've got great vision. Don't worry about that. So I love those kind of times where, yes, you want to highlight that you are doing this great service for your client, and here's this amazing professional that I've brought in for you. So I'm happy to do that. One thing though, is that sometimes there's not enough time for me to do a walkthrough. I just recently had a house where a client of mine, she's John L. Scott agent, Kelly Lisi, the poor family needed to get the house on the market as soon as possible. They were having major health problems with the dad who lived in the home. So Kelly reached out to me to stage the home. I did do a walkthrough, and the home was staged in 6 days. So I think that's probably my soonest turnaround so far, but I was so happy that I could provide that for the client. But I do say that also because sometimes there isn't time to do a walkthrough, especially it's really far away location. So I can do a staging if you can take really great pictures for me. Also, sometimes there's old listings that I can look at and get a feel for the home. And so I can do it without doing a walkthrough if time doesn't permit. So like perfect. I said, it does work out best when I do a walkthrough, but.
Hey, any questions for Carly?
I have a quick question. Oh, Beth, go ahead. You're first.
Oh, no, I just wondered what your price scale is. I mean, how does that work? Do you go by square footage? Do you go by just each one individually?
Yeah, I do. That's why I provide the customized quotes for agents, because it's very difficult to just say like my heart of the home package is this, because what if the home is 6,000 square feet? What if the home is 1,000 square feet? Yeah. So I do have a pricing system and chart that, I use it every time. This room is this room is this room is this. So that's why I really prefer to do customized quotes for people. And even, like I said, I will do a couple so that we find what exactly we're looking for. But yeah, it's just a little bit difficult to just have one stamp. This is what it will always be.
Right. Yeah. Because sometimes sellers will ask you, how much does staging cost? They'll just come out and ask you. And so I just didn't know if you had a general,
like a range
to work with. Yeah. Range per square foot, or if you work different.
Yeah. I would, if a stager or if a client is really wanting to know, I would definitely tell them it's usually between $2,000 and $4,000 is what I would say. And we can break that up. Like I said, okay. We can definitely do less rooms and have it more in the $2,000 range. We can do full meal deal. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you do virtual staging as well?
I don't. No, okay. I do not do virtual staging. And that typically what I've come to find is that's more of like a photographer will offer that kind of side of things. So, yeah, I have not delved into that. And I don't know, as you see, having difficulties joining Zoom, I'm not sure that that's my area of expertise.
It's not your forte. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you were saying the ROI, I think that metric is great. And then the other, kind of stats you had. So you're saying essentially what you spend on staging, you're going to get that plus probably about 15% more back return. So. Yeah. And then the flaws thing, I've never heard that, but I'm going to start using that. Like you're going to overlook over a quarter of the flaws, right? 27%. That's amazing.
Yes, I agree. I think that's my favorite statistic for staging because every house has got something, and how it's so beneficial for people to.
It's true. How many times have you brought somebody into a house and they're like, "Oh my God, I love this furniture," and you're like, well, "This, the furniture's not staying, but that's great."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool to have people get an idea for how they would arrange the furniture. When I do occupied stagings and the homeowner comes back into their own house, they're like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I have it like this all along? And it's really cool to hear that, I've done it right. The flow is great in the house, and people are like, why didn't I ever put a round dining room table? This looks so fantastic in this room. It's pretty cool to see that.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. If there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and turn off recording.
Oh, you don't have to record this part. Or